At Arlington's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, a thug's reckless challenge meets the unbreakable resolve of a tomb guard. One punch, shattered teeth, and a lesson in respect unfold in a clash that'll leave you speechless. At Arlington National Cemetery, where white headstones stretch like silent sentinels across rolling hills, the tomb of the unknown soldier stands as a sacred monument. Here, heroes whose names were lost to war rest under the watchful eyes of the tomb guards. Day and night, through rain or heat, they march 21 precise steps, pause, turn, and march again. Each movement is a vow, each step a tribute to sacrifice. On an October afternoon, as golden leaves drift on a chilly breeze, one such guard, Corporal Ethan Sullivan, stands watch. His uniform is flawless, boots gleaming, rifle polished to a mirror shine. His face, weathered at 30, holds the weight of battles fought far from this hallowed ground. Ethan, known to his brothers in arms as Hawk, is no ordinary soldier. A former Navy SEAL, he's seen the chaos of Afghanistan, heard the screams of the wounded, and carried the guilt of those he couldn't save. Now he guards the tomb not for glory, but for a friend whose face still haunts him. Before we continue this story, let us know where you're watching from. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the channel because tomorrow we have another special story for you. The crowd at Arlington is small today, a mix of reverent visitors and curious tourists. Families snap photos, veterans stand in quiet reflection, and a group of college kids huddle near the tomb filming TikToks. Among them is Sarah, a history major with a knack for seeing the deeper meaning in places like this. She nudges her friend, whispering, "You guys, this place is sacred. Maybe we should put the phones down for a minute." Her friends shrug, half listening as they angle for better shots. Nearby, Harold Thompson, a 75-year-old Vietnam vet, leans on his cane, his eyes fixed on the tomb. His weathered hands clutch a faded photo of his old platoon, men who never made it home. He murmurs to himself, "You boys rest easy, we're still here for you." The quiet reverence shatters as a hulking figure shoulders through the crowd. Vince Russo, 35, built like a linebacker and twice as mean, strides toward the tomb. His dragon tattoo snakes down his arm, and a brass knuckle ring glints in his pocket, clinking with each step. Vince is a street thug, a washed-up boxer, banned for dirty fights, now scraping by on bar brawls and bad bets. Last night, over cheap whiskey, his buddies dared him to take on one of those fancy tomb guards. "They're just parade dolls, right?" Vince laughed, slamming his fist on the table. "I'll show him who's boss." Now he's here to prove it, his ego as big as his fist. Vince's voice booms, cutting through the cemetery's hush. "Yo, check out this guy." He points at Ethan, who's mid-march, his steps precise as a metronome. "Looks like a damn wind-up toy." The crowd shifts uncomfortably. Sarah lowers her phone, frowning. "Dude, show some respect," she says. Vince spins, smirking. "Respect for what? This clown playing dress-up?" He laughs loud and grating, and his buddies egg on. Harold grips his cane tighter, muttering, "Punk's got no idea what he's messing with." Ethan, though, doesn't flinch. His eyes stay locked ahead, his face a mask of focus. But inside, memories flicker. A desert road, an explosion, his friend's lifeless eyes. He pushes them down, his breath steady, his duty clear. Vince struts closer, ignoring the chain barrier around the tomb. He plants himself in Ethan's path, arms crossed, chest puffed out. "Hey, toy soldier, what's the deal? You too scared to talk?" Ethan marches forward, his boots clicking on the pavement. 21 steps, pause, turn, march back. He passes within inches of Vince, not even glancing his way. The crowd holds its breath. Vince's face reddens. "Yo, I'm talking to you." He steps closer, his shadow falling over Ethan. "You deaf or just dumb?" Whispers to her friends. "This guy's gonna get himself hurt." Harold nods slowly. "Damn right he is." Ethan's silence fuels Vince's rage. He's used to people backing down, cowering under his size and swagger. But this guard, this nobody in a fancy suit, acts like he doesn't exist. Vince leans in, his breath hot on Ethan's face. "You think you're tough, huh? I could snap you like a twig." Ethan's eyes don't waver, but a muscle in his jaw twitches. Another memory hits. A firefight, bullets whizzing, his friends shouting, "Hawk, get down!" He blinks it away, his grip on his rifle steady. The crowd's murmurs grow louder. Someone yells, "Where's security?" Another whispers, "That guard's gonna get hurt." Vince steps over the chain barrier, planting himself inches from Ethan's path. "All right, tough guy, let's dance." Ethan reaches the end of his march, pauses, turns. For a split second, his eyes meet Vince's, not with fear, but with something colder, harder, a warning. Vince doesn't see it. He's too busy grinning, his fist cocked back like a loaded gun. The crowd goes silent, every eye locked on the two men. Sarah clutches her friend's arm. "Oh my God, he's going to hit him." Harold leans forward, his voice low. "Kid's about to learn the hard way." Time slows. Vince swings, the brass knuckles slicing through the air, aimed straight for Ethan's jaw. It's a wild, sloppy punch, all power and no skill. To the crowd, it looks brutal, unstoppable. But Ethan is no statue. He's a seal, trained to move like a ghost, to strike like a hammer. In a blink, he sidesteps, his body flowing like water. The punch misses, grazing the air where his face was a heartbeat ago. Vince stumbles off balance, his eyes widening. Before he can recover, Ethan moves. His fist snaps out, a blur of motion, connecting with Vince's jaw. The crack is sickening, like a branch snapping in a storm. Teeth fly, glinting as they hit the pavement, blood spraying in their wake. Vince erupts, gasps, turning to cheers. Sarah's jaw drops. "Did you see that?" Her friend nods, stunned. "That was insane." Harold chuckles, a dry, satisfied sound. "Told you, boy picked the wrong fight." Ethan, unfazed, steps back into position, resuming his march. 21 steps, pause, turn, march back. His uniform is pristine, his face unreadable, but a faint trickle of sweat beads on his temple. Inside, his heart pounds, not from fear, but from the weight of what he's just done. Vince writhes on the ground, spitting blood and tooth fragments. His eyes, wide with shock, dart to the crowd, then to Ethan. He tries to speak, but it's just a moan. "My teeth! You broke my damn teeth!" Ethan doesn't respond. His rifle rests on his shoulder, his steps steady. The crowd's cheers grow louder, a wave of awe and respect. A woman in the back yells, "That's what you get." Another, a veteran with a silver star pinned to his jacket, nods. "Damn fine work, son." Sarah's filming now, her voice shaky but determined. "This needs to go viral. People need to see this." Two Arlington security guards push through the crowd, radios crackling. "Sir, stay down," one orders, kneeling beside Vince. The other grabs the brass knuckle ring, shaking his head. "You're in deep trouble, pal." They cuff Vince, who's still groaning, his bravado gone, replaced by pain and humiliation. As they haul him to his feet, he staggers, blood dripping onto his shirt. The crowd parts, some jeering, others silent, their eyes on Ethan. He's still marching, his rhythm unbroken, a living monument to duty. Harold watches, his face soft with pride. "That's a real soldier," he says to no one in particular. The guards lead Vince away, his head bowed, his swagger shattered. Sarah lowers her phone, turning to her friends. "I'm posting this, but not for clout. People need to know what this place means." Her friend nods. "Yeah, and what happens when you mess with the wrong guy." They glance at Ethan, who's now at the far end of his march, his silhouette sharp against the setting sun. The crowd begins to disperse, but the energy lingers. A mix of shock, admiration, and something deeper, respect for a man who didn't need words to prove his strength. As the commotion fades, Harold limps toward the tomb, pausing near the barrier. He pulls a single white rose from his jacket, placing it gently on the marble. "For you, boys," he whispers, his eyes misty. Then he looks at Ethan, still marching, and adds, "And thank you, Hawk." Sarah and her friends linger, talking quietly. "I didn't get it before," Sarah says. "This place, what it means. but now I do." Her friend, usually the joker, nods. "That guard, he's the real deal." They walk away, Sarah already drafting a blog post in her head. Words about honor, sacrifice, and a lesson written in blood and broken teeth. Ethan's shift nears its end, but he doesn't falter. 21 steps, pause, turn. The sun dips low, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. A new guard approaches, ready to take over, but Ethan's focus never wavered. He's not just guarding a tomb, he's guarding a legacy, a promise to those who gave everything. The crowd's gone now, save for a few stragglers, but their whispers carry. "Did you see that punch? Guy's a legend." Ethan hears none of it. His world is the rhythm of his steps, the weight of his rifle, the memory of a friend who never made it home. In a holding cell miles away, Vince sits on a metal bench, his face swollen, his mouth a ruin. The cops are talking. Charges, assault, trespassing, maybe more. His buddies, the ones who dared him, are nowhere to be found. He stares at the blood on his hands, the pain throbbing with every heartbeat. For the first time, he feels small, not because of the cuffs, but because of the man who broke him, not with anger, not with show, but with a single perfect strike. Vince mutters, Didn't know he was like that." The cop snorts. "Should have thought twice before picking a fight with a tomb guard." Back at Arlington, the cemetery grows quiet, the last visitors fading into the dusk. Ethan completes his final march, handing off his post with a crisp salute. The new guard takes over, and Ethan steps away, his face still stoic, but his shoulders loosened slightly. He passes Harold, who's lingered by the tomb. The old man meets his eyes, offering a slow nod. "You did good, son. Real good." Ethan pauses, his voice low. "Just doing my job, sir." Harold smiles. "More than that, you showed him what it means to stand tall." Ethan walks toward the guard posts, the weight of the day settling in. He thinks of his friend, the one who didn't make it home, and wonders if he'd approve. A faint smile tugs at his lips. "Yeah, you would." He glances back at the tomb, its marble glowing under the first stars. This is why he's here. Not for fights, not for glory, but for them, the unknowns, the fallen, the ones who gave it all. And today, he defended their honor, not with words, but with a fist that spoke louder than any speech. The story spreads, as stories do. Sarah's video hits the internet, racking up millions of views. Comments flood in. "That guard's a hero. Dude got what he deserved." News outlets pick it up, calling it a lesson in respect. At schools, kids talk about the tomb guard who took down a thug with one punch. At VFW halls, veterans raise glasses to Hawk Sullivan, even if they don't know his name. And at Arlington, the tomb stands as it always has, silent, eternal, guarded by men like Ethan, who carry the weight of a nation's gratitude. This is the story of a soldier in a showdown, of silence disrupted and dignity defended, of a single punch thrown not in anger, but in honor. So the next time you're at Arlington, watching those precise steps, remember this. The tomb guard isn't just a symbol. He's a warrior forged in fire, bound by honor. Share the story, not for the drama, but for the message that courage isn't always loud, and sometimes respect is enforced by those who've truly earned it. And if you're fool enough to test him, you might just leave with a few less teeth and a story you'll never live down. Because at the tomb of the unknown soldier, respect isn't optional. It's the price of standing on hallowed ground. Watch the guard, count the steps, and know that behind every silent march is a voice that says, "This matters."